America's mayors are doers. They fix roads. They get drugs off the streets. They bust ghosts. But in 2021, New York City elected a mayor who wasn't just a doer. He was an enlightened thinker.
No matter how much darkness would come, light will shine through. That's my message of life.
Who saw his city as a playground of transcendental possibilities.
This is a place where every day you wake up, you could experience everything from a plane crashing into our trade center to a person who's celebrating a new business. And that's why it's the greatest city on the globe.
Yes, like a great metaphysicist, New York's mayor inspires citizens to ask deep, existential questions, like, who the hell did I just vote for? This is the daily showography of Eric Adams, philosopher king of New York. Today, we know that Eric Adams is a philosophical genius because he tells us he is.
So I'm Gandhi-like. I think like Gandhi. I act like Gandhi. I want to be like Gandhi.
But it wasn't always apparent that Adams would grow up to be one of the great thinkers of our time. Born in 1960 to a butcher and a house cleaner, he was a typical New York teen when he had a run-in with the law that would change the course of his life.
I was arrested in South Jamaica, Queens, when I was coming from school after going into an apartment of a go-go dancer who owed us money. And out of nowhere, they say you feel like a beatdown. So I had a demon in me. And the only way I could get it out was to go in.
To go into the police department?
Go into the police department.
You know what they say, if they can beat you, join them. And join he did. It was during this sojourn in the urban wilderness that the prophet now says he was granted a vision of his future.
30-something years ago, God spoke to my heart and said, you are going to be the mayor January 1st, 2022. And I would tell everybody I'm going to be mayor January 1st, 2022. People used to think I was on medication.
Yes, used to. So after 22 years as a cop, Adams traded his badge and gun for the suit and tie of the New York State Senate, where he used his law enforcement background to teach ordinary citizens how to police their own families.
It's imperative that you should know what's inside your household. You don't know what your child may be hiding. Could be just a baby doll, but also it could be a place where you can secrete or hide drugs.
It's the classic philosophical debate. Is any object solely itself, or do all things contain dualities that can be used to hide contraband? And after apparently solving every other problem in the city, Adams turned his focus to something few intellects had dared to tackle: dad ass.
So he is starting a campaign to encourage kids not to wear their pants so low. It's dubbed Stop the Sag.
When you raise your pants, you raise your character. When you raise your pants, you raise your grades. When you raise your pants, you raise your self-esteem.
Soon, Adams' profile was lifted higher than the freshly raised waistbands of New York City teenagers. He ascended to Brooklyn Borough president, where he toiled day and night, even sleeping on a bed in his office, a commitment to both his job and avoiding New York rents. But for Adams, politics would always come second to his true passion: developing a holistic philosophy of mind, body, and spirit.
I eat a plant-based centered life. Some people want to call me vegan. Vegans eat Oreos. I don't. Now I'm going to show you what I eat in the morning. Cacao powder, I see maca powder, cocoa powder, cassava powder, and I love this stuff here, moringa powder.
And after beginning each day with a slurry of industrial-grade pulverized health food, Adams ends every week with a ritual worthy of a Boys to Men video.
Every week, Adams draws himself a bubble bath and scatters rose petals across the water's surface.
I don't know what I'll do without my incense, my candles, my bubble baths, and my roses.
Before long, Adams was enlightened enough to ascend to an even higher level: mayor. After a small hitch requiring him to prove that he didn't actually live in New Jersey by giving a tour of his very real Brooklyn apartment.
This is a small bathroom.
Adams won the election convincingly, and he celebrated poetically.
How do you go from being arrested, dyslexic, rejected, and now you elected to be the mayor of the city of New York? All I know is all my haters become my waiters when I sit down at the table of success. I'm not who I am because I'm the best. I'm who I am because I'm blessed.
Not since Biggie had New York seen a philosopher with such flow. And not since 50 Cent had New York seen a leader who spent so much time in the club.
This is a city of swagger. We need a mayor of swagger. When a mayor has swagger, the city has swagger.
They're saying Eric goes out to restaurant. Breaking news. Duh. Yes, I do. I'm a nightlife mayor, and I like to test the product.
As mayor, Adams' galaxy brain was constantly coming up with new ways to improve life in the city, like slashing budgets for libraries and schools and migrants to pay for more cops on the street, and more cops in the subway, and robot cops, and flying robot cops, robot dog cops, so many cops. And if people complained, he handled it philosophically.
We're New Yorkers. You know, we get angry, we get pissed off, and we let you know how you feel. I wake up in the morning at some time and look at myself and I give myself the finger.
It seemed like there was no problem Adams couldn't outthink. Until...
Breaking news here in New York City. The FBI seizing electronic devices belonging to Mayor Eric Adams as part of a corruption investigation.
The FBI is investigating whether the mayor received illegal donations from the Turkish government, with observers noting unusual connections, including Adams' recent cameo in a Turkish movie.
But I don't understand Turkish.
Will this Turkish taffy spell the end of Adams' reign? Or will he once again draw on his philosophical learning to remind people that in New York City, every day is a chance to soar to even greater heights?
I am the pilot, folks, and you are all passengers. Stop praying for me to crash the plane, because there's no parachutes on this plane. We're all going down together.
And that kind of wisdom for the ages is why Eric Adams truly is the philosopher king of New York.